After 15 hours, I rolled credits on Wanderstop and I have a lot to say. You've probably seen it in many cozy game lists. But here's the thing, this game is a lot deeper and a lot darker than what you might be expecting. So without spoiling the story, there are some things that you need to know before deciding if this is the game for you. A shout out to Annapurna Interactive and Ivy Road for giving me the chance to explore every nook and cranny so I can bring you this before you buy. And with that being said, you already know I always have free reins over everything that I'm gonna say in this before you buy. My footage is from my PC experience on Steam, but the game is also available on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Playing as Alta is a refreshing experience. You're not following a typical scenario of, oh, I'm tired of city life and I'm deciding to move to a rural area and let me start my own shop. You were an undefeated fighter until one day you lose and you find yourself lost in this mysterious forest. You start searching for Master Winters who can help you redeem yourself, but your body is so fragile and you pass out. A tea shop owner called Boro finds and rescues you, and your sword is now too heavy to pick up, and after some convincing, you decide to help Boro out until you gather enough strength so you can get back on the road. This is as far as I'm gonna tell you about the story because the beauty of this experience is you exploring it for yourself, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. Onto the gameplay, the game's innovation starts with the planting aspect, and you'll quickly notice that this is not a farming game whatsoever, and there is no let's say, oh, I'm gonna grow crops and sell them here. You use this grid-like system to plant. For example, having 3 seeds lined up gives you a small hybrid, which also gives you more seeds, whereas having this triangular shape with 4 seeds planted of the same color or different colors is gonna bear fruits. Your plant instantly grows when you water it, and as long as it's sparkly, it means that watering it will give you more harvest. Once the spark is gone, it's time to grow a new one. There are no seasons here, there's no use of fertilizer, there's no use of stamina, nor do you have a day and night cycle. You remain, for the most part, in the tea shop and you can explore a mini area around it. You're gonna use the field guide, which has entries to different plants and fruits, and I like how easy it is to create the plants. The field guide gradually unlocks new entries for you, so you're gonna look at the page and see what the base color of the seed that's gonna be in the middle, and then you're gonna either see 2 question marks surrounding it or 3, depending on what kind of hybrid it is. And because we only have 4 seeds overall in the entire game, it's very easy for you to play around with the combinations and unlock new plants. Now, this is a game about making tea, so to make that, you're gonna collect leaves from bushes using your basket. These are gonna keep popping up around the tea shop, so you don't have to worry about planting them yourself. Then you're gonna bring them to this drying area and they will need a bit of time to dry. Once they've turned into a tea ball, you can go to that gigantic lab kind of looking device that you've seen in the trailers. You're gonna hop on the ladder and you're gonna use it. First you fill in the water, then you're gonna move the ladder to the heating area to bring the water to a boil, then you're gonna throw your tea leaves and fruit of choice to start brewing the tea, then you can serve it. This little attention to detail makes the gameplay more fun. A lot of games will just have you throwing something in a machine and just let it do its own thing, but here you feel more in control, and this was actually fun to do. Different teas are gonna have different colors, and sometimes you're gonna be mixing a lot more than just tea and fruit. To run a tea shop, you're also gonna need customers. They're gonna come in and they are very entertaining. This is not your typical shopkeeping game where you're gonna take in an order, deliver it, and that's it. No, you're gonna be having a chat with the customers. You can choose the dialogue that you want. Your decisions are gonna matter. You navigate the conversation and you choose how little or how much you want to know about a customer. Once they tell you what kind of tea they want, it will be registered as a request that you can access in your field guide. Plants and fruits have different buffs and effects, so based on what the customers want, you're gonna have to guess which tea flavor will suit their needs. Sometimes they might ask to have tea that will have a specific feeling. Sometimes they're gonna ask for a specific flavor. Other times they're gonna ask for something very sophisticated. In the beginning, making tea is pretty simple, but the more that you play, the more complex these requests are going to be. The goal is to keep talking to these customers, making them the tea that they want until you have progressed the story enough. In your downtime, you can sweep leaves to get some special trinkets and cups. You can look around for different resources like these mushrooms. These have different traits which are fun to play around. Some can replicate trees, some will give you trinkets, others will make the plants smaller. You also have to know that tea is not only for customers. Alta can also drink them, and based on the flavor that she drinks, she can reflect and tell you a bit more about herself. Apart from that, you can also clean up the area surrounding the tea shop by using clippers to get rid of weeds, and that in turn will also give you some special trinkets and other goodies. With the questing system, knowing what to do next is pretty easy. You're gonna use the RT button, which shows you the NPCs that are around, sounds, and anyone that has a yellow bubble above their head means that they have a quest ready for you, and be prepared for a lot of dialogue because this game is story driven. As you play, your inventory will become full very quickly. You have some storage places to leave your items, which can come in handy, but I feel like the system could have just been ditched. It just added a small barrier that I don't feel was necessary to add anything to the gameplay. Once you complete all the customers' requests, you're gonna see that the game is kind of divided into stages, and you're gonna go to a shrine, and once you do something, everything around you is going to change. All the decor that you've placed is gone, your tools are gonna go back to the wall where they were, the plants that you have planted are going to be gone. Everything except for the pictures that you've taken and hung up will be removed. Now, this is very necessary for the story. Once you play, you're gonna understand why this is happening, but it is worth noting if you're someone who really cares about decorating. I would say just don't get too attached to what kind of decoration you're using. With the gameplay, I have to talk about the music. The music merges so well with this game. The developers don't shy away from sometimes having silent moments so you can relax and take in the beauty of your surroundings, but then every single NPC conversation has a unique soundtrack. So I was eager to hear the melody change based on who I was talking to and what the context of the conversation was. I also love the sound effects here they added to the immersion, and the cutest part were these little pets that sounded like how our squish the like and subscribe button sounds. There were also instances where Alta and others are voice acted. Other times you're only gonna be reading dialogue, and I love that Alta has a voice. It made me connect to her as opposed to if she was a silent protagonist and I wouldn't know what she would sound like. Before we move to the hiccups that I faced with this game, hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If this video is helpful, make sure to squish the like and subscribe buttons. This helps the YouTube algorithm find more cozy gamers that might be interested in Wanderstop. On to the parts that others might have not told you about. First, if you are prone to motion sickness like me, you need to know this. When I played the demo, I complained about the camera and how zoomed in it is on your character inside the tea shop. This is still the same issue, which triggered my motion sickness when I was playing the full game. The camera is also going to clip into things when you rotate around objects like trees, which can get distracting. The camera is also gonna zoom in sometimes when you talk to NPCs, so as you can see here, it just zoomed in so closely to Boro, and this can get in the way. When making tea, you're gonna use the slather to navigate the machine, and the camera is gonna move very fast, which is gonna easily trigger your motion sickness. Thankfully, the devs have given us the option in the settings to slow this down, so make sure you do that. And you can also have a dot in the middle of the screen, which I had on at all times, and that helps you not get dizzy. And another thing that people might have not emphasized for you is how dark this game can get. I see it on a lot of cozy game lists and it says like, oh, it has like a dark twist on it, but it's very deep and dark and you have to be aware of that. So I want you to know that this does address a few mental health issues. Even the music is gonna get very dark and twisted at times, so will your surroundings. As long as you have that in mind and you're ready for it, you're gonna set yourself up for experiencing a beautiful story. In terms of performance and controls, I played Wanderstop on PC using an Xbox controller. In the beginning, I was forgetting how to use different tools because the game groups up different resources and it binds them to different D-pad prompts. So I would just forget like, oh, my tea ingredients are here and this is where my basket clippers and watering can and cups are gonna be. But after a couple of hours, I got used to it and was ready to go. When making tea, it was also sometimes hard to get the prompt to pop up. So for example, when you're pouring the tea, you have this hand sign which shows up and it means that you can interact with an item. Sometimes I needed to readjust my character and my camera a couple of times before I can get it to show up. Moving to the fun factors here, we've got a few. I love the animations here. Even filling your watering can has attention to detail rather than having a small swoop from whatever water source to fill it. You also have these very cute little birds that you can pet, and they're also gonna bring you deliveries which you can then send by the mail and get rewards for them. There's also like some kind of story happening as you're getting mail delivered back to you, so that was a fun little addition. You can also change the color of your pets, but I'm not gonna tell you how. You're gonna have to figure it out for yourself because that's one of the cutest parts. You also have this book called the Book of Answers. I'm not gonna show you what's inside because I don't want to spoil things for you, but if you get lost in the game and you don't know how to make a certain cup of tea, this book comes in handy because it will tell you exactly how to do it. So we've talked about the good and the bad, but the question is Wanderstop the game for you? We're gonna go with this game is for you, if not for you, if, and my verdict. This game is for you if you're okay with playing a relaxing game that is not afraid to bring up dark topics. It's also for you if you're okay with a bit of a grind, if you're okay with a bit of silence, because there are times where the game just wants you to actually relax and not do anything. It's also for you if you're looking for a cozy game that has planting but not farming. So if you're sick of farming and want something that is more plant-based, that is a bit more on the relaxing side, this is definitely going to be for you. It's also for you if you love a narrative, story-driven game. That means there's going to be a lot of dialogue here. And it's for you, of course, if you love this art style and you love the oversaturated colors, it's gonna be perfect for that. However, Wanderstop is not the game for you if you don't want a dark story in your cozy game. As I said, there's gonna be some mental health topics, so be aware of that. It's also not for you if you think this is a farming game and you're gonna be like raising animals and selling crops and stuff like that. No. This is not what this game is about. Yeah, you do have the birds, but you're not like breeding them or anything like that. So you're not selling stuff. Even decorating around the tea shop will get reset, so keep that in mind. It's also not for you if you want like this massive experience. The game is on the shorter end where you can finish it in 10 to 16 hours. And of course, it's not going to be for you if you have very severe motion sickness problems, because we've already addressed how these are and it did trigger my motion sickness at times. So I personally had to take some breaks to recuperate and then be able to play again. As for me, this game was not what I was expecting, and in the best way possible. I knew that there's gonna be some tough topics in here, but I didn't realize how deep things are gonna get. In a time where it's very easy for games to just become complacent, especially cozy games, they're becoming rinse and repeat replicas of each other, they're lacking innovation and becoming bland. Wanderstop managed to hook me until the very end, and I literally couldn't stop playing. In only 4 days, I finished the game, I wrapped up the credits, and if I wasn't working on my uni stuff, I would have probably finished the game in 2 days max. The writing is so good, the NPCs were so quirky, and I felt attached to Alta. The camera again did bother me a little bit, but taking breaks made it more bearable and everything was fine. So let me know, are you buying it? Thank you again to Annapurna Interactive and Ivy Road for sponsoring this video, and click the link in the description box so you can buy the game for yourself. A special shout out always goes to our YouTube members and patrons for going the extra mile, and of course, thank you always to the Game Dimension, Jake, Logan, Will, and Stephanie. Until next time, stay bubbly.